Hi everybody, it's Rebecca Virginia, and today I'm going to show you how to make 2 fall DIYs using items from the Dollar Tree. The first DIY is a faux shiplap sign using the 2021 farmhouse calendar, but any calendar you have will work. Here are the supplies you'll need. First, we're going to take the farmer's market calendar, and you can choose whichever month's image you like the most. I decided to go with the October one because that one had a bunch of pumpkins on it, and I like that one. Then take a pair of scissors and cut out the image you like. Next, take the calendar picture and place it on top of the foam core board. Now I'm taking a ruler to measure out 2 inches below and 2 inches above the calendar picture because that's where I'm going to create a border with my buffalo check scrapbooking paper. I'm taking a glue stick to glue down the buffalo check scrapbooking paper. I like using the glue stick because it doesn't bubble as much as a hot glue gun or Mod Podge. I then take a ruler just to smooth everything out and make sure there's no air bubbles. When you're done gluing down the buffalo check scrapbooking paper, you're going to use the same technique when adhering the calendar image to the foam core board. The school supply section at the Dollar Tree is where you'll find regular poster board as well as this thicker foam core board I'm using. After the glue has fully dried, you're going to take a utility knife and cut along the side and the top of the foam core board so your image ends up looking like this. To give this DIY a more farmhouse feel, I wanted to create faux shiplap. I did this by cutting my project into 4 strips. There were already lines on my calendar image, so I just followed those and used the utility knife and a ruler to make the cuts. I also took an extra piece of the foam core board and cut that into 2 strips, as that's going to be the backing on our project. I wasn't quite strong enough with the utility knife, as you can tell, because it didn't cut all the way through. I'd recommend not using that on a nice table, maybe going in your garage. So I took a pair of scissors just to cut all the pieces apart. To further make it look like that faux shiplap, instead of having this really bright white in the middle of my project, I took a dark brown and I ran that along the insides of that foam core board so it gave a bit more illusion of depth. Now I'm taking the foam core board pieces I cut earlier and covering them in the brown paint. These are going to be what holds our sign together, and it will show through the cracks, so I want to make sure that it's brown and not that really bright white. I also flipped over the entire sign and painted that brown. If you're hanging it on a wall, you don't necessarily need to do this step, but I wasn't sure if I was going to hang it on the wall or prop it against something in my house, so I figured I would just paint it all. Once all the paint was dry, I laid out the 4 pieces of my project how I wanted to. I didn't measure anything, I just kind of eyeballed how far apart I wanted the pieces to be. Then I was a little bit scared that once I started gluing down those support pieces, things would shift. So I took a piece of painter's tape and just laid it across the back to ensure everything would stay secure. I placed the support piece of the foam core board in between the blue painter's tape and the edge of the project, and then I just hot glued that support onto the actual project. Make sure that you hot glue all 4 pieces, not just the top and the bottom. I did that at first and the project was kind of wobbly, so make sure you glue every single piece down. Then I gently removed the painter's tape pretty slowly so as not to accidentally pull off any of the actual paint on the project. To be able to hang my project, I took a hole punch and punched 2 holes in the top of my pumpkin patch sign. Then I took some jute and wove that through the hole and knotted it, and I ended up knotting it 4 times. I found that that was the perfect amount so that the knot was big enough so as not to fall back through the hole I had just punched. Lastly, I wanted to cover up the small hole in the top of the calendar that was originally there, so I took some buffalo check ribbon, made a small bow out of it, and hot glued that on to my pumpkin patch sign. And that is everything you need to do to complete your faux shiplap sign. This next DIY I unfortunately lost the footage to, but it is a wood truck cutout from the Dollar Tree. Here's an image of what it looks like originally. All I did was paint it and added some bows on the pumpkins. I also painted 2 wood pumpkins and put those near the front of the truck wheel. The truck cutout is originally meant to be a hanging sign, but I decided that I wanted to put mine on a platform. To do this, I took the Harvest Blessings block sign because it had this really pretty faux wood border around it. I painted the top of the Harvest Blessings sign with a dark brown. I also got 2 small wood blocks and painted them that same brown color. I sealed in the paint with Mod Podge to ensure none of the paint chipped off when I hot glued the truck to the top of it. Then I hot glued the wood blocks behind the truck wheels for extra support and added a Harvest galvanized sign as well as the leaf lights. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep searching, keep creating.